The cost of living in the Gambia is a battle fought daily in the markets, in homes, on the streets. As inflation sours, the reality of survival becomes an uphill climb. For many Gambians, what once felt like normal living before has now become an everyday struggle. From the streets of Banjul to the bustling markets of Serekunda, the story is the same. Prices are rising, the people are finding it harder to keep up.
If you look at the Gambia, like we are facing high cost of living. Like the cost of living is very, very high, as like it is related to the demand and supply of goods and services, and also the factors of productions. Like in the Gambia, there is main thing that is disturbing us, which is production. Our production is in a minimum state, and we all know in economic, when production is less, then we will depend on importations of goods and services. And when we import goods and services and bring it into our country, then there will be little tariff that will be charged on those goods and services, which will result to the wholesalers and retailers to increase the cost of living, which is so high.
Inflation is not just a financial term, it is a daily reality for Gambians. Essential goods, from food to fuel, have become more expensive, and families are left with fewer choices. Wages do not match with rise in prices, forcing many to stretch their financial thinner than ever before. This is the stark reality of an economy at a breaking point.
When you look at the cost of living, it is quite disheartening to see that how prices are rising. And then we have seen that there are a lot of factors, a lot of indicators that are causing a rise in the price of goods and services in this country. Key among them is the low productions of goods. You will agree with me that Gambia it's not producing or utilizing its main resources, and that is the agriculture. So as a result of that, we have fall in production, and that is warranting the cost of goods to go high. Imagine if you are producing these goods in large quantity, obviously the price will be bit down. But it's because we are not producing, and that is one of the reasons why the cost of living continues to escalate. I think when you just step out from the here, you could realize that from the behavior of people, most or everybody in this country will tell you that the cost of living is very, very high. And just as I said earlier, we are all consumers. Okay, but most of us are consumers. So hadn't been we are producing, that would at least force the price to go down. But imagine if all of us are trying to produce or trying to consume, to buy, okay, while we have few goods available, obviously the price will go up. So yes, to answer that question, the cost of living is not favorable. It's very high in this country.
For many, the rising cost of living in the Gambia goes beyond numbers on the receipts. It reaches into the core of family lives. Parents are forced to decide between sending their children to school or buying enough food for the week. Healthcare becomes a luxury, and basic needs are sacrificed. This is more than just an economic issue. It is a societal crisis that touches every part of Gambian life.
If you look at the Gambia, like we have our economic system, we have more of progressive system whereby like anything that we are charging, we charge based on what you earn. Like the more you earn, the more now you are going to be charged, and the low income earners are going to suffer. So now when the cost of living is high, then that is going to affect those whom you know that they are average income earners, like I tell you before. And this average income earners, if they are affected, it means that then it will be a negative factor towards our income, because the market price, I talk about the market price, whensoever the market price is being disturbed, then the cost of living will make an impact, and that impact is going to be an unfavorable impact towards our economy, not only to the market, but to businessmen, to companies, and also to indigenous firms. If I talk about the indigenous firms, these small companies that are about to rise up, and they are in the stage, like they move from the primary stage and move into the second stages of like the production process. So the cost of living for me is something that you know that in the Gambia is not favorable. I cannot say it is negative, but like it's something that needs to be adjusted.
The cost of living is also impacting the essential sectors, education and healthcare. With families struggling to meet basic needs, the question arises, how can they invest in their children's future and even afford a simple doctor's visit? And inflation continues to increase. These crucial services become even more out of reach for many Gambians.
When we experience inflation, basically what it means is the price of goods are high. And that is the current situation of this country. And if the price of goods are high, obviously that will reflect or that will relate in the cost of living. So yes, to answer that question, cost of living and inflation have a positive relationship. When you look at the central bank missions, part of its mission is to stabilize prices. Yes, of course, they are doing quite a lot in stabilizing the prices, but they haven't met their targets. Yes, the target or the dream or desired, a digit for every country would be single digits. And as a result of that, we are facing high cost of living and high inflation rates. Looking at one of the reasons that would determine prices, okay, one of it is scarcity. If goods are available in abundance, naturally, the price of those goods will go down. As we speak, in 2 months ago, we were in watermelon season. We have seen what happened to the price of watermelon, right? It was drastically low. Today you go to the market and you ask for watermelon, the price is very high. Okay, and one of the reasons is that we don't have storage facilities whereby we can keep some of our produce. You can imagine if we had storage facilities whereby we can keep some of our farm produce. Even though, we are out of the season of those produce, but we can take them out from the stores and sell them at a lower price. So the lack of storage facilities it's definitely causing a hike in the price of these goods. You talk about the basic commodities. You see, it's interesting. These goods you mentioned, they are basic commodities. Yes, even they are basic, do we produce them in this country? We don't. In fact, most of our consumption, some of them we do, but most of the consumption, you realize that we don't. We import them. Look at rice. Of course, we have what it takes to produce rice in this country, but see our imports, the tons of rice that we import. See sugar, we import them. Onion, we import. Flour, we import. So they are the reasons why the price of this goods continue to increase. It's because we don't have enough production of those goods in this country so that we can determine the price. But what we do is we rely on the global market price. Okay, yes, if I am producing, I determine the price, but not you who is buying. And Gambia is buying from the international market. So this is why we are just taking the price that is available. So we don't control the price. Yeah, so that is why the price keep on fluctuating.
Yet, in the face of these adversities, there are voices of hope. From government interventions to grassroots community initiatives, efforts are underway to combat the rising cost of living. These solutions, though varied, share a common goal to lift the Gambia out of this economic crisis and ensure that the most vulnerable are not left behind.
When we talk about the cost of living, it's about it links with production, and it also links with the agricultural sector and different sectors of the economy. Like if you come to the agricultural sector, if the government now increase their investment and increase their budget in agricultural sector and filter it to the farmers that are producing goods and services, whensoever those farmers are happy and they are supported, then we will have what we call a large amount of goods and services that we produce. And the more they produce, the lesser the prices of goods and services. And when the prices are less, then it is going to come down to the market to reduce those particular prices in the market. And when the prices in the markets are level, then every one of us, our cost of living will be favorable. So one is for them to concentrate more into the agricultural sector, the fisheries sector. Let them help the fishermen with different materials and things that they need, so that now they will be able to produce, they will be able to give us fish that you know that they are having high yield, which will also satisfy both the consumers and those fishermen that are working there. So you come to the tourism sector, let them develop the tourism attractive places. Like you go to Jufre. If people tell you that here is a tourism sector, you will not believe it. Why? Because we are not trying to put things there which is going to attract the tourists when they come, so that they will be able to, like when we have museum there which will show Kunta Kinte from his escape, what they were doing to him, and all those things. It is going to influence the tourists to be there. When we have guest houses there and things like that. So those are things that you know that if they develop on it, we will be able to increase our investment. We will be able to increase our economy, and it will make what we call a favorable balance of payment in our country. So you move now. Come to health. We train youths that are not only going to depend on consuming those particular medicine that are produced from outside, but we train them. We have what we call herbal centers that trains youths on the importance of these local herbs that we are producing in the country, how important they are. How can we produce our own local herbs, which you know that we can sell it to our people in a smaller prices, even if we are going to bring people from outside to train them, because we cannot talk about long-term achievement without long-term plan. So now all these things that I'm telling you are long-term plans that you know that anyone that is coming next, or those who are in power, they can be able to help us, so that now we will be able to use it to develop our nation.
In time of hardship, the true strength of a nation is tested. The Gambian spirit, resilience and determination continues to shine through. Communities are banding together, finding new ways to support each other and create opportunities where none seems to exist. It is this unity that will help the Gambia rise above the cost of living crisis.
We often say agriculture is the backbone of our country. But how serious are we? If we are truly serious, I think we have to invest in agriculture. Yes, when you ask the government, they will tell you there are a lot of investment, there are a lot of projects. But what is the effect? What have we realized from those investments? I think more serious mechanisms should be put in place to ensure that we produce in bulk. Our main source of export, is granite, but even seed granite as we speak. We have seen a decline or a fall in the tons of granite that we produce, and that is because of many factors. So yes, if we want to increase our production level, we have to invest in agriculture seriously. When we invest in agriculture, you realize that there are a lot of goods that we import. We don't need to import them. Okay, we can produce them locally and sell them at a lower price. But if we rely on importing goods, look at onion. Look at other vegetables that we have the very good land to produce. But what are we doing to produce them? It's difficult to see, or it's disheartening to see we importing onions from our neighboring countries, or even from African countries, while we have the same climate conditions. So I think more effort should be put into agriculture, making sure that women or farmers are empowered so that they can produce in large quantity, and that will curtail or bring down the cost of living or the cost of price of vegetables as well as other food products in this country. Okay, now when you look at our import and our exports, you can clearly see that there is a gap, there is a deficit. That is, our export is way less than our imports, right? And to solve that problem, as I said, we need to go back to the production center. We need to expand our production base. Okay, the only thing that we produce in this country, as I said, is granite, and even that we have seen a decline or a fall in the tons of granite that we produce. So yes, to salvage that is the gap between our export and import, we have to produce more and more and more, so that at least it can help us in exporting goods to other countries.
The path forward will not be easy, but it is possible. The challenges are immense, but the solutions are within our reach. It will take collective action, policy change, and a commitment to putting people first. The future of the Gambia depends on what we do now. The cost of living cannot continue to define the lives of our people.
Yes, there are man-made disasters and man-made issues that cause the high cost of living. Sometimes you will have the Minister of Finance talking about COVID-19, which we cannot also deny, because this particular viruses also will make some, like, will reduce the rate of importation of goods and services in the country. And when the importation goes down, it means that then the little amount of goods that we have here, there will be high prices. But now, if we're told now Gambia as a country concentrate on agricultural facilities and all other sectors in general by investing in them, now investing in them and also industrializing our country will help us to control this particular high cost of living that we are facing. So then it can be general through certain viruses and other external issues that influence it, but it can also be like a nation causes, a national causes, which we know that we are not investing on sectors that are going to yield revenue and also investment in our country. Okay, the problem lies from the lesser production process that we do. Like what happened here in the Gambia is we are not concentrating on production, which is about agriculture. I can say the agriculture is a particular sector that you know that is the mother of the sectors. And when agriculture is neglected, then it means that the entire sectors will be neglected. Like when we depend more on importation and we don't produce anything, then when we import goods, those people that import goods and services, mean the wholesalers and the retailers, if we charge them certain tariff, they will increase their prices. And when they increase the prices, the government cannot control that. Why? Because we don't produce anything. We depend on outside, and them bringing goods are going to dictate how much they are going to sell their goods and services. But when we produce as a nation and eat what we grow and grow what we eat, I think that's what there is a place over that someone drink. If you do that, then the prices of goods and services will go down. Like example, by the time I was in the neck of going down to 2022, I told them that why not we revitalize the Jahali Pacha rice field. When we revitalize the Jahali Pacha rice field, Kunta wood and all those things, and we bring youths in the Gambia to work in those particular farms, whereby they will cultivate rice, harvest it. When they harvest it, we will use that rice, sell it to the Gambian people in a low quantity, low prices of goods and services. And those people that are working there, we will pay them money, which they will use to buy those rice in the cheapest price and give it to their family members. I think that is going to bring down the high cost of living in our country.
The cost of living is not just an economic issue. It is a call for change, a call for action. We face the challenges ahead. Let us remember that it is not the cost of living that defines us, but how we respond to it. Together, we can reface the future of the Gambia. Together, we can rise above.
Very well. I strongly believe we can do better. You see, it's like we must have a formula. We must have a formula for development. And African countries, the way out is we have to leverage. We have to tap from the natural resources that we are blessed with. We cannot leave them idle. We must make the best use of these resources that we have. I mean, look at our river. What can we maximize from this river? Look at our agriculture, our land. We have arable lands, hectares of arable lands that we can make best use of. What are we doing? We can empower women, young people. We've seen the rate of migration in this country. And this is because, I mean, most of them believe that it's not promising in this country. And obviously they have lived for 20 years in this country or more than that, 30 years. It has not gone well. So even us, the students, we've seen that it is very hard. So we can do better, and we have to do better. And the role of government in economic development is to make sure that there is a level playing ground for all businesses. I mean, when I said a level playing ground, I mean the policies. The policies has to be favorable. When you look at taxation, should not be very high that it will drive out investors. In fact, it should welcome investors. Give out tax holidays. In fact, now if you've seen the amount of revenue we drive from tax, in fact, the last time I checked, every month we are driving a billion plus, $1 billion plus every month. So you can imagine that. So we are driving a lot from taxation. Yes, we are a tax-based economy. I agree, and I am not suggesting that we should not pay tax. Of course, it is our compulsory, mandate to pay tax. Yes, but then I am saying that this tax should be flexible in such a way that it encourages foreign investors, local investors to invest and boost the economy so that we can do better. We deserve better, and to develop this country is not difficult. We have vast natural resources where we can tap in, develop, and make it here. Look at countries that are doing it in Africa. What is their formula? There is no country that has developed in this continent without utilizing agriculture, without utilizing its natural resources. So what are we doing? The government must do better, the Gambia must do better, and its citizens must live a better life. When you go to the village, what you realize is, farmers in the village depend entirely on agriculture, but their main challenge is seedlings, farming equipment. What are you doing as a government to support them? Look at fertilizers. Sometimes, in fact, fertilizers are not available at the right time. Even if they are expensive. Seedling, we are not saying you give fertilizer and seedling to farmers free of charge. No, but you can provide subsidies. You can give loans, allow farmers to access loans and invest in agriculture. We have to commercialize agriculture. We have to commercialize agriculture. If that is done, in fact, when you look at Jahali Pacha alone, I am with the conviction that Jahali Pacha alone can feed this country.